And we are live. Didn't know we'd make it to another week, did you? Been a busy week. Lars is here. This is One Eyed Cat, second in. Unfinished project. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. And if you've not been following whatever in the world that is Big Mike is building, you should go check it out. Dean Stevenson, Twisted Mopar Dennis is here. Ginger Vance, Dan E. Boyd, Mama M to the third power, a.k.a. Colleen, a.k.a. the secretary. Dizzy Izzy. You know, the president has the secretary of defense and whatnot. We have Colleen. She's the secretary here. Lars puts up a reminder link to register or buy spectator tickets for the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals here. You know, I should pin that, but I really can't. That's all right. Mohawk is here. Dizzy Izzy, hello, sir. Kim fixes things. Lone Wrench Garage. Lone Wrench Garage has hit his 400th sub. Like I said, he's going to make it. He's at 400, and he still has, 26 days, 3 hours, 57 minutes. And even that, you still have a budget there at Lambert's on top of that. So he's going to make it. And I got to tell you, a guy who throws in that kind of effort and does it, this is a guy you want to meet. This shows you what he's made of. I like it. Let's see. Yes, congratulations on getting 400 exactly. And the thing is, once he gets to 500, he's just going to sit back and say, oh, man, that's a lot of work. And then just in the blink of an eye, he'll be at 1,000. Like, I got 500 without trying. I got 500 more. So that's kind of how it goes. Once you quit stressing about them and all that, they come because you just get relaxed and make content and have fun. Turbo Tom 416 says, waiting for tow truck to take my van to work. I'll be working on it tomorrow. Right on. I took my van on a little mini road trip to get it shaken down, flushing the cooling system, put a caliper and a brake hose on it, getting ready for a trip to Sykeston. Dr. Go, they call him Dr. Go. And Lars puts up the link for Lone Wrench Garage here. I'm assuming most of you know Lone Wrench Garage. Hey, if any of you guys know Stinger Salvage, why don't you see if he's free for a little bit? Because he's at 480, and I have a feeling we could do his 500 moment right here tonight. And if he'd like a link to jump in, we'll have him on screen tonight. Any of you guys who know Stinger Salvage, drop him a line. Tell him he's welcome. We can make this thing happen tonight. Thumper is here. Frankenstein C20. Glad you're here. Pure Pontiac Garage. Hot Rod Guy Garage says time is counting down. Yes, it is. My Aunt Nancy says good Friday evening. He says 100 left. Yes, 100 remain. But you have this. In fact, the rate you're going to easily get this well before Sykeston. And then we just need to help old Tim over at Indecisive Garage. He's next, and he can make it too. And we will, for the first time ever, have a 100% graduation rate in the No Name 500. We've never had that before. It was higher than normal last year, and this year it'll be higher still, and I'm excited. Grand Pito Vic. Grand Pito Vic fell in an odd category because he got his 500 before we ever announced the event. He got it in that off season. So he never really got to be part of the No Name 500, the No Name 500 time frame, but he did get his 500 right before. And because, he's committed and part of the community, we still did a 500 live with him, but he never officially got in there because of when we announced the event. We don't hold that against him. So he's kind of a No Name 500 guy in spirit. Big Block 402, kind of like a lot of us are. I'm a No Name 500 guy in spirit. I had mine before the event. A lot of other people did too. Big Block 402, Stephen, how's it going, sir? How's your rehabilitation on your legs? Did you do the other knee yet? Asking for a friend. The One-Eyed Cat says, I literally walked back in the door as the intro started. That was your entrance music, Dawn. That's what that was. See, you guys think I'm the one that activates that music, right? No, It's dawn. It's when dawn walks in. That's what causes that. Scrap Iron Racing. Hello, sir. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. Indecisive Garage says, yay, it's Friday night. Hey, man. So it looks like everybody else is really close on this No Name 500, and you're going to make it too. You are going to make it too. Don't worry about it. You're going to make it too. We're going to help you. But when you make it, we're going to have a 100% graduation rate. And I'm excited. So Stinger Salvage can do this tonight. I've already requested people who know him reach out. Say if he wants a link, we'll get a link, get him on here. We'll have his 500 moment tonight. And then Lone Ridge Garage, he should be next. He's really close. And then it'll be time for Indecisive Garage. Does that mean we're saving the best for last? I don't know. But I'm loving to see 100% graduation rate. Grand Pito Vic. How's that? How's your project coming, Grand Pito Vic? Bean Street Mopar. Hello, sir. Rich has been on YouTube all the. Yeah, you have. I've seen the suggestion. I'll tell you what, I've been busy. So I haven't been able to do as much as I want to. I've been doing some framing. I rebuilt this header in a carport. So if that looks like it was really heavy to get up there, it was. And this one is even worse because it's in the middle. So there's nothing to hold it. There's no piers. It goes straight from one clear span beam to another. So I'm having to support all of those individual rafters with 4x4s and screw posts and then fit in my beam. And it's a job. It's a job. And in fact, I'm a wreck because I just came from doing all of that. I came, ran a few errands right as I got into town, sat down, got the live thumbnail up, and go time. So hopefully after this next Friday, it shouldn't be that way. I'm going to meet building inspector and everything on Thursday, electrician or the electrical inspector on Thursday, and then hopefully things will settle down by the next live, and I'll be able to do a little more, prepare a little better. Yeah, he says I get to 500, then I got to pass that. Well, you're going to get to 500. I can't see anything to stop you from getting to 500. You're doing great. You're going to get this. Then you got to pass tech. Hey, if you have any tech questions, email them to me or get in touch with me. We'll make sure you got what you need. Believe me, the last thing we want to do, we're not in this to fail anybody. I mean, we don't want people traveling to fail, but we also don't want people traveling to show up with stuff that absolutely can't pass tech in any fashion, nor should it. And also, there's a lot of people, you have all kinds of friends helping you right there in the pits. I mean, people get tech passed. Sometimes people got to thrash it a little bit, but again, tech's open on Thursday. You're like, oh man, I got to get an overflow bottle in or something like that, or make some kind of change on Thursday. It's like, no problem. We get it done. Everybody pitches in, helps. Everybody's good to go for race day. The people who have the problem passing tech are the people who just act like they don't know it's coming. Lars says he will be in and out. But you're a very conscientious guy. I don't see you having any problems just because you're conscientious. And those people never have a problem. I got to tell you, we got a little more pushback on tech the first year because there's so many people are used to having so many things they never fixed. But what we found is that after going through tech the first year, people came around to the idea and said, you know what? I just never realized how many things on my car really needed to be done anyway and really make my car safer anyway, both on the street and on the track. And they're like, yeah. And once I did all that, I didn't have to do it the next year. And then when I build anything new, I got a better standard that I build to, et cetera. And everybody had a really good attitude about it. And we have a really good safety record, and that's what we want to keep. So sometimes it can be a little intimidating having a standard, but in the end, it works out. And you guys are awesome. I mean, don't forget that. That's the most important part. Oh, Stinger Styles out of the country for work. Well, I'll tell you what. He's out. Does anybody know when he'll be back? Brian Beeler, Mr. Roundabout. Speaking of that, since he's here, since Beeler is here, it's the perfect time to do this. For those of you who have not seen my short about the thing that I'm looking at and may even buy, it's over in the town I live in. See if I can find. I don't even know if I really have a picture of it or not. I've got. You know what I'll do? I know how to do this. I'm just going to show the video of it. It's on my channel. Let's do it this way since it's on my channel. It's a short. I'm going to play this for people who have not seen it. I'm thinking about buying this, and this is a very Brian Beeler-like thing. I'll show you guys and get your thoughts and opinions. I'm driving to pick up some auto parts in Bluefield, West Virginia, and I passed by this. I like this way too much, actually. The guy who owns it doesn't really know what he has. Wheelbase. Got a Gene Berg shifter, nice retro touch there. He says it's an 86 VW. It's clearly 67 or older. Drum-looking fuel tank. Yes, it is a swing axle. VW power with the dual port heads. And the Stinger. Got an Arizona tag, but I bet a little something that the car didn't drive here from Arizona. Anyway, I think this thing is cool as can be. So, anyway, that's my auto round up. I see that thing sitting there. I'm going to give him a little bit of time to figure out that it really is not worth what he's asking. But if he would make a fairer price, I think I would own that. Indecisive Garage, I'm slowly creeping up through 26 count, and you are definitely in striking distance. You can do this. I have all the faith everybody's going to make it this year. That's exciting to me. So if you guys have not yet shared out Indecisive Garage's link, check him out. He does have John Cope's very first E4OD trans brake. Cope has the prototype as a wall hanger, but the first production CNC machined E4OD trans brake is in that truck. And I've actually met the truck in person, but not Tim, because I was at Cope's place right after Tim dropped it off. So I saw it sit in the shop, walked around, took a look at it. This is a cool truck. Dean's asking Pure Pontiac if he would consider an LS swap. Clayton's Toolbox. Hello, sir. Glad you're here. Grand Pito Vic, yeah, he's a No Name 500 and Spirit guy. We have a few of those who either were just north of the sub requirement or in the off season. I'll tell you, one of them was Buff's Garage. He had just over 500 when he started, and I don't know what he's at now, 60,000, something like that. Or he would have been a No Name 500 guy too. He was super excited the first year to make that happen. Grand Pito Vic's now at 3,700. See, there you go. Once you just get on a roll and doing the work, it just rolls, doesn't it? And I got to tell you, when people pass me on subs, I'll wave and smile and cheer them on. I love it. And Big Block 402 is not like a rehab, but he says both knees are done. Good deal. Beeler's at 14,160. I've been watching him since he was not nowhere near that big a channel, but he's got a great channel. I enjoy it a lot. And that reminded me of him walking around that VW. He should do. You know what? That's actually pretty good. I could see him doing the roundup up on that Facebook Marketplace ad. I kind of like to hear that. How he would do that. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat, Beeler, to do the do if you ever do Volkswagen stuff. I would love to be there for that. Hear how you do that particular car and others. I don't ever turn my printer off. It's making a racket over here. Pure Pontiac says, nope, I'm not a bot. No, he's not. Unfinished Project gets accused of that a lot. Busted Radio Garage is 57 to the front. So for those of you who do not know, Busted Radio Garage has made a bona fide offer to buy a Rich 220's 57 Chevy for $3,000. And I said, if you send me a picture of that car on Chris's trailer, I'm going to put $500 on the top of it. You heard it right here. So there's a $3,500 bona fide offer to buy Rich's 57 Chevy. And Chris, I'll let you tell them in the chat what your plan is to do if you get it, because I don't want to speak for you. So you can tell them what your plan is if you get it. You can tell us in the chat if you guys want to see that. Grand Pito Vic says, haven't been able to touch his project. His dog cost almost $1,000 and my car was stolen. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So sorry. Carport looks pretty close to a garage. Oh, it would make a nice one. Just close it in. It's a clear span in the middle and everything. Right now it's full of building materials, but it might be full of them. Doom buggy if I can make all that work out. Oh boy, we're already starting to talk about what day we're leaving for the No Name Nationals. I generally leave early Tuesday morning. Could be early Monday this year, depending on different things. Lone Range says, I think I need to drain the radiator and put a second return spring on from the video watch. Yeah, don't forget the carburetors usually have a spring that goes around the throttle shaft. They have that one too. So that counts as one. A lot of people forget to count that one. So you've got that one, you got the return spring lever. So most cars have to right from the factory if they have that set up to start with. Busted Radio Garage says, I have no clue. I'm working on bringing everyone at No Name Nationals a treat. Right on. Cool. That sounds great. Dr. Go says, you all helped me ahead of time, so I did the work at home before I drove 1,000 miles. And I'll help so I could pass tech because I was prepared. It's my first No Name Nationals. Yep, right on. Well, Dr. Go got a winning attitude, too. He would have made it happen, but I'm glad he's got it. Rampy to Vix, oh, can't make it this year. Oh, my goodness. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. If anything should change, you know, we'd love to see you guys. Just let me know if anything changes. We're glad to have you. Mean Street is headed to Indy in the morning to pick up an Indy top end for the 440. Oh, wow. Wow. September 5th is when he said he would be back. Cool. I'll tell you what. We'll just kind of let things sit and play, and we could just. What do you think? You guys want to just surprise him with 500 subs? Why don't we just kind of put some feelers out? If you guys have any other social media other than YouTube, not that YouTube's not a great place to put it, but because there's other things like Instagram and Facebook and all these other things, and Twitter/X and whatever your other assorted social medias of choice are, put a little something out and say, hey, if you've not yet checked out Stinger Salvage, see if he earned your sub. He's at 480. I mean, nothing says we can't have a 500 party to celebrate the 500 he got earlier. I think he could get it tonight. And then we can shift our focus over to Mr. 400, Lone Wrench Garage. Dizzy said he posted a video that 64 Sport Fury convertible was a 361 car, now 440 dressed up as 426. Is that the one that was supposed to be a Hemi car? A thing. No, that wasn't a thing. It's actually a dune buggy body kit on a Beetle chassis. Well, actually, it looks like a tube chassis, but it's not a thing. AKA Safari. I dig it, man. Yeah, I do too. I dig it a lot. He gets the price right. He's got too much in it. I think what he's done is he's paid people to do everything to it, and he's put so much in it. I mean, the words are, he said, I had a fuel pump put on it. So now that I know there are two people on Earth who can't put a fuel pump on. Yeah, I know. He just wants too much. I already told him what ballpark I was in. Yes, it's the dune buggy. Ginger's seen it. She saw it in person. What was it, yesterday? I said, you want to ride around in that? She said, I don't know. What did you said? I don't know. What'd you do with that? Yes, Dennis, there are two people who can't put a fuel pump on. Tim, keep hitting the live, spend some time in the shop. Yeah, it does. And the thing about shorts, shorts helped more until they started changing the algorithm. And the big thing is shorts is when the money went to shorts, it kind of skewed everything. Shorts used to get you a lot more subs. They still can when you kind of hit the lottery on one, like I did with that Thunder Ranch short I put up. But that said, shorts help too. Lives help too. Used to be that shorts helped a lot more than lives. And what you're experiencing right now, what I'm seeing is your lives are helping more than shorts. Main thing is, like I say, just don't quit. Tim's going to make it. Lone Wrench is going to make it. Stinger Salvage is going to make it. I think he can make it tonight. Somebody keep tabs on Stinger Salvage's subs. He only needs 20. Dr. Kimball's man with the prosthetic arm has joined the chat. Dust Devil is here. Hello. Lars puts up the link to Indecisive Garage. Yes, check out Tim. I know I'm behind on the chat, but let's see here. Yeah, Thumper says asking a Pontiac guy if he'll consider an engine swap as something other than the best engine ever designed is like asking a man if he wants to jump in a volcano. Yeah, they should want to put Mopars in them before an LS. Yeah, I know. Life happens, and this has happened to some people. But you know what? I mean, hopefully we'll all have our health and be able to run a 5th annual No Name Nationals. But we got to make the 4th successful to even think about a 5th. Indecisive, that's the spirit. I added some go faster parts for the No Name Nationals. Come on, 500. Yes. Grand Pito Vic, I believe mine was heaven helped. We will see what happens. You never know. Starting the Knuckle Duster Thrash tomorrow, right on. And for those of you who are new and might not have been following the Knuckle Duster, Dust Devil Garage, I remember when we before I even announced the first No Name Nationals, I reached out to about 10 of my friends here on YouTube, and I said, listen, I'm going to be doing an event in the middle of the country at a racetrack for some drag racing with a couple of days for my YouTube friends, and it's going to happen. Be ready. We're going to do it in a year. And that was in the summer of 2021. And I remember one of the very first people, could have been the first, but one of the very first people who just jumped up, said, I'm in. He didn't need to know anything else. He didn't need to know who else was coming. He didn't need to know any of the details. He didn't need to know exactly where it was or anything. Was Brian from Dust Devil Garage. He was all in. He was that first person to jump. I mean, I don't know who's first, but like if you could count on one hand the first people to jump and say I'm in, Brian was one of them, and he's never missed one. And the first year, car couldn't quite make it. The second year, the car made it. The third year, the car drove down the track. And the fourth year, he's going to make a pass in it, like a real pass. So, I mean, he has been a model of persistence and, got a winning attitude. Unfinished Projects has offered $3,000 previously. Well, you You offered 3,000 a whole lot of turmoil ago. Brian Beeler could have made the first. You can still come out here. Come out and see us. We want to see you. Chris has a blown LS to put in it. Yes, Rich needs to sell that thing and watch it become famous in the burnout pit at the No Name Nationals. Dust Devil's coming down Wednesday with the family, right on. I love that he comes down with his family. I think that's great. We've watched more and more people bring their families, their wives, their children. I just love that about the No Name Nationals. I never want that to change. I want it to be a family-friendly event. Indirect connection. Jason says, I'll be leaving Wednesday morning-ish. There's a moth or something flying around in here. You see that? He says he's got a lot to work through. Yeah, we always do. It's the way it goes. $3,500 is a good deal for him. I agree. He paid something like, I think he paid $2,500, and that includes having it transported on a dolly brought up to him. I mean, you know, yeah, it's a good deal for him. You really ought to just do it. Because even if he gets another engine for it, at least another long block, and has it running and all, that whole chassis is a mess. So I think it will be a good idea. But that said, if that's what keeps him going, more power to him. You know that we're talking about old Rich, and I don't mind calling Rich out when he's full of it. I don't mind doing that. But you guys know, personally, I would love to see the guy get a victory in his life, but I have no problem calling him out on nonsense. In fact, we offered him $100 to provide proof of that 70 Hemi Challenger that I just don't believe he ever owned. It should be easy money, but oh well. Someone asked me one time, what would you do if Rich showed up and got it running and brought the 57 to the No Name Nationals? You don't know how excited I'd be, how cool that is. I think that'd be fantastic. I really do. That would have meant a whole lot of things had to go right in his life to get to that point. And that'd be great. Oh, yeah, Dr. Go. You can share. Okay, so I'm going to share this picture from Dr. Go. Pick up some auto parts. The Dr. Go, I always say that his name reminds me. I got to remember what his real name is to find him in the email. So I always say that his name reminds me of that song from the band Kiss. They call him Dr. Love. When he says Dr. Go, I can hear Kiss singing Dr. Go. So there you go. Is that the most 70s looking picture you have ever seen or what? Isn't that cool? Now, I like this picture. This is an action shot he said his dad got. Back in the 70s, I mean, you didn't get pictures like this. That's a really good picture. Hot Rod Guy Garage, there's a guy with a cool dune buggy at a decent price. Yeah, maybe I wasn't really shopping for one, but I drove by and just saw that. Man. Mohawk says what we need to pass tech. I misspoke. 18. It's 16. It's 16 on the overflow, but yeah. Yeah, that's splitting hairs, but yeah, 16 on the overflow is fine. Because I got to tell you, there are people like, I don't know why we need that. First No Name Nationals, we had a car puking antifreeze on the track because it didn't have an overflow ball. It shouldn't have gotten through tech. We had a few missteps like that, but we've worked. I got to tell you, you guys have all had a great attitude, and we've worked to we've really, each year tech's gotten easier because of that. Brian Beeler says, hasn't subscribed lately, no extra time. Who we helping? Can you post the links? So in the chat, any mods can put up links to, we have 3 channels still running in the No Name 500. Stinger Salvage is the closest. He is at 480 subs. We've got Lone Wrench Garage, who's got 402, and we've got Indecisive Garage, who I believe is 365. And it looks like this year, for the first time ever, they're all going to make it. Indecisive Garage has one without a body. Might put one on it someday. Yeah, there are just too many things like that sitting out there to pay this guy what he's asking. But his is complete enough. I can't pay that kind of money when the thing is kind of rough and needs a lot. But that's okay. Everything I have is rough and kind of needs a lot. JB's Little Shop. Hello, sir. Always good to see JB. Busted Radio Garage says 27 days and none of my cars have engines in them. Figures. Yeah. Anybody else see that fight over chicken McNuggets on that cruise ship? No, I didn't, but I want to. If anybody has a link to that, I'd like to see. I'd like to watch that later. Wow, Scrap Iron says my buddy Damon is planning on bringing a BMW he won in a raffle. What kind of BMW is it? Twisted Dennis says, looks like I'm going to pick up a little black car to run it to No Name Nationals. Oh, cool. Do you want to say what it is or you want to surprise us? Old McDonald says arm and shoulders gone from black to purple with yellow and green. I thought I was going to have a bruise like that on my foot. I got a really hard lick on it unloading this 156-foot long roll of carpet, 12 feet. 12 by 156. I don't have to tell any of you guys how heavy that is. And so we had a board running through the end and a board across screwed on it and using that to pull it out of the back of the van. I don't know what that weighs, but the board broke and hit me in the foot. Dizzy says that 64 was a rare car convertible. Sounds cool. Valiant's getting towed on the trailer, which will require me to drive my junk 1,000 round trip. Wow. Hardcore. But I'll tell you what, we do appreciate Jason. Jason's a hard worker. He's a good role model, seriously, for you guys. You know, everybody that does this, he's just one of those guys that puts his head down and makes it happen. He works. 38 Racing says 26 days and a few hours, party time. Busted Radio says if he gets it running and driving, wants to come, I'll pay for the trip. What, to Rich? Sure. I'll tell you what. For obvious reasons, I absolutely cannot do this I can't, because if I said I would comp admission for my friends, we have no event. This event is all my friends. But if Rich actually makes the trip, I'll open my billfold and I will take the 90 out and I will pay the event. I mean, it doesn't go in my pocket anyway. It's all, so I would pay it I would pay Rich's registration fee if he would get there. But of course, that's not going to happen. It could, for any of you guys, 26 days to get a car ready to make a road trip in that kind of condition from New Jersey to Missouri in 26 days and change. Yeah, he could do it. You could do it, but I don't think he could. But I'd love to see it. Oh, yeah, we'd make sure that happened. Right now, I'm getting the van ready, shaking down the new cooling system. I did a caliper and brake hose on it. I may swap out the carburetor, but it's great. Van great. Just got a sticker on it, fix some lights. Probably going to be sleeping in it anyway. Junkyard D, hello. Danny Boyd says, yet one more reason I'm never going on a cruise. I might go on a cruise one day. The worst thing about a cruise is that I just can't take Jethro. He would love it. He'd be all about it. Hanging out on the deck, looking at the water and getting to eat, he'd just be all about it. Twisted Mopar says that's Black Card on his channel. Okay. And Beeler, if you wanted to know, here's the link to Lone Wrench Garage. And Unfinished Project has the link to Indecisive Garage. And of course, he just says he subscribes to Stinger Salvage. There you go. You got all three right there. Brazil says, I started a build I may bring this year. If it's not done in time, I'll bring the Galaxy. Cool. I love it. Dealers catching them all. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Unfinished Project wants to know how long it takes for fiberglass bumpers to set up. Signed the sale contract today in Tennessee. So does that mean you've got it listed, or does that mean a contract to purchase? You accepted an offer. One-eyed cat will pitch in for Rich. Yeah, a lot of people would. But that's not going to, help. I mean, I don't think what he realizes is we laugh about his utter ridiculousness, and he asks for that. But that said, this community, I mean, none of us wish him any ill. I mean, he'd have the right attitude and come on. He'd be welcome, could have a great time. Later, Chris, thank you for coming by, buddy. Looking forward to seeing you in Sykeston, sir. We'll be in touch ahead of time. We want to make sure we get if we do any improvements in the burnout pit, we want to talk with you about it. If you'd feed Jethro some bikers, he'd go. Yes, he would. Dealer says he's subbed to all 4. Cool. Mater says he's not going to make the No Name Nationals this year. Well, take care of that hand. Kerosene cucumbers. Is that in honor of that episode of the Andy Griffith Show? .38 says radiator question mark. Well, I had radiators blow up in both the van and the CRV, and I've just replaced both of them. I did the radiator in the van and had it soldered and all that stuff. I'm flushing it right now, and it's doing great. Keeping it cool and doing great. And then I got one for the CRV. After 371,123 miles, the neck on the upper tank just cracked, just turned to powder from all that heat cycling. They just can't handle it. They get brittle. And so I put a used one in it that looked a whole lot better. That's the nice thing about used parts for something as high mileage as what I have. Even all kinds of old used parts still look great. And he confirms it's from the Andy Griffith Show. How'd you hear about us? Twisted Mopar says, I help anyone. I enjoy helping Rich. If Rich wasn't so far, it'd been done there, figured out one way or the other. If Rich had a better attitude, I'd have taken him an engine from here. I got a crane and a 305 sitting out there. But just wasn't to be. I mean, we'd all like to have helped him. Couldn't do it. Unfinished project. He says, Nader, he says he's shocked. Figured you'd be flush with cash after a fusion offers and cutting up that Challenger. Yeah, I couldn't quite figure that one out. Just don't call the kerosene cucumbers Aunt Bee's pickles. Yeah, that was a great episode. That's one of my favorites. The algorithm. Okay, cool. Well, glad you're here. So if you're not familiar with what we do and all you've seen this is from the algorithm, I'm live on this channel from 8 to 10 Eastern every Friday night. And, I help promote the No Name Nationals. That's our annual family get-together, our annual homecoming of content creators here in the automotive community. You see a lot of them in the chat, and there's a lot more that are going to show up. And this will be our 4th annual running. Mater, I know you had offers on that car. You had offers for scrapping more for that car. .38 says, me too, several times, been even better. Dizzy says, my adopted son Joe made Master Sergeant yesterday. But yes, Kerosene Cucumber, we do this. We hang out here every Friday night, and then once a year in September at Sikeston, Missouri, at the Skelton Raceway at Sikeston Drag Strip in Sikeston, Missouri. We have the No Name Nationals. It's a great time. Racing burnout competition for people 500 subscribers or more. But everybody's welcome to come out. The spectator pass. We cruise to Lambert's. It's a great time. And that's where we see each other in person every year. But this is where we hang out on Friday nights. And then a lot of content creators here in this stream have their own live shows too. And it's a great time. It's a great community. Best community anywhere. Not just YouTube, but best community anywhere. So welcome. We're glad you're here. So unlike a lot of the gamer communities and stuff like that you'll see, on YouTube, all of these people are just real regular folks. And we've all met in person. We all come to this event and we see each other, visit each other throughout the off season. So, mix, mingle, get to know some folks. It's a great place to be. And yes, congratulations on Master Sergeant. That's very cool. Indirect Connection says he's taken I-57 through Chicago this time to get a small train heading to Sikeston. Tupper says some of us are irregular. Yes, indeed. Don says give him an attaboy. I'd agree. Big Mike says he's got us playing on earbuds while on the tractor tending to farm stuff. Colleen says I sent an invite to the Paint and Paper Hustle channel, hoping to see him there. Well, hopefully. You never know. I mean, we'll see. I will say one thing that would really help the No Name Nationals is that if you guys can reach out to the other channels you follow and people that you meet and through the automotive community, the way we grow this thing and with like-minded people in the community is it's like a tree. Each of you guys has your own branch, and then each of you keep finding more and more, and that's how we grow this thing. That's just how it works. One-Eyed Cat's got the aluminum slots for No Name Nationals. What's Don going to run? What's Don going to run with that fresh 440? Yes, I can. I can do that. Jason, if you don't mind, text me right after the live if you can. Because 1,000 comments from now, I may not remember. Colleen says 982. No way. He's going to be much quicker than that. No way. The new converter he's putting in alone will give him more than that, Colleen, not even counting the new engine. Twisted Mopar Garage says I'm still going to have a live Saturday at 7 just to shoot the breeze. Cool. That sounds great. I've been enjoying watching what Dennis does live. He's an interesting guy. They might be here just watching to see what's what. Who is they? Oh, Paint and Paper Hustle. You talking about from Colleen? Invite here or invite to the No Name Nationals? Either or both are fine. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans is guessing 890 for Don with the fresh build. I think so too. I think it's probably going to pick up a whole lot more 330 to 660 than it will from 0 to 330 because of that gear. That's just my guess, though. I think it'll pick up everywhere, but I think it'll. Gosh, he's got to drop a second off of it. I mean, doesn't he? Doesn't he have to run deep in the nines, nine flattish? You would think. Surely. Okay, cool. Round them up for tonight. 56 Chevys. That sounds great. Grampito Vic says, good night. Everyone have a great night. 4:30 a.m. Eastern comes early. Yes, it does. Indecisive Garage. If he's not in the lower sevens, well. We'll see what Don does. Ryan Barr's Ness is here. Indirect Connections says, JB, you will not be the slowest there. I'm most likely taking my slant 6 Belvedere. Dealer says my pick was post gasser with a big block Chevy 8500. Mohawk says he thinks Don will be real close to my time. You know, it's interesting you say that because you have a airplane gear in the back of that Scamp too, and you have really tall tires. But your car makes a lot of power, Mohawk. I'm thinking Don. I think that 892 is not too far off. I think Don's going. I'm just saying, drop a second. I think he can do that. But I think what's going to happen is he's going to find other things to sort out in that car. It's kind of what I'm guessing, because it's a whole untested combination, whereas yours has been sorted out a lot more. So I predict that what Don brings will probably still be a half second short of what it can do, because it's going to be a lot of sorting to do. Don says, I have until late Saturday to post my fast time. Cool. That's right. You have plenty of time for testing thing. And here's a link to Beeler's Round Them Up here. Unfinished Project puts up the link. Old McDonald says, cooler nights are coming, bringing some more horsepower to many. Yes, they are. In fact, if Don had just gotten in the staging lanes one more time, he'd have run a 9-something. He'd run a 1002 in the heat, and it was getting cooler. Dr. Go says, Indirect, are you running that 6-cylinder class I thought I heard about? He sure can. It's not a slant 6 class, it's a 6-cylinder class. Lone Wrench Garage said, there's a No Name Nationals in Pennsylvania. Have you heard it? No, there's not. I think that the Useful Entertainment guys said they wish there was one in Pennsylvania. I heard something like that. They wish they'd do it there. We're not doing it there. We're going to have it in the middle of the country. People can all come out there. It's what we always do. And no one's having one. That's not, that's for us. So the chatter about a 6-cylinder class is still just chatters to turn it. No. So Kim Fixes Things is kind of taking the lead on it. We're going to make space for it in the run order. It's a real deal. Yeah, I don't know what was said, but no, there's no Name Nationals in Pennsylvania. There's only one No Name Nationals, and it is this one. It is the one that our community does in Sikeston, Missouri, in September. Period. Yeah, and Don was on street tires. I thought you did that with drag radials. Didn't you do that with Professor P's drag radials, Don? JB's in for the 6-cylinder class. JB's going to have something for that 6-cylinder class. Yeah, the Useful Entertainment guys come out of Pennsylvania, and there's a few others, like Sam. He's in Pittsburgh. There are some No Name Nationals folks in that Pennsylvania area. Of course, Don and Wendy, Wrong English. Yeah. As soon as I do, I'm going to talk with Possum. I'm going to have that meeting all together. Believe me, it's not overlooked. In fact, I have it as item number 1 on my list for that reason. Hot Rod Guy Garage has the 6-cylinder, yeah. Indirect Connections just doesn't need 8 cars. Well, yes, America. We're not all about need. We're about want too, You never know about people in the chats. They may have been trying to start. Yeah, you never know. You never know. The first year of the No Name Nationals, the trolls went wild over it and did everything they could to try to sabotage it and everything else. And they were unsuccessful. And, you know, now the fourth year of the No Name Nationals, they have a hard time, you know, getting people to believe stuff. Like they were saying, well, that track will never have them back and all this. It's like, no. And one troll that said that we were going to divert the payouts and, you know, to some race somewhere else. And that wasn't true. And all that. I mean, you know, after 4 years of it, it's really hard to keep saying the same things. And so anyway, it just kind of went away. We knew it would. We're glad it did. And now we just, you know, we just had to suffer through that first year with a lot of that garbage. But now it's so much better. We really don't have any of that anymore, and it's great. Oh yeah, we got you. We got you. Very important. Yeah, speaking of Russell, heard about what outfits Russell's bringing. Need versus want, Big Mike says. Does a Honda Accord need a 440? Yes. Big Mike, yes, it does. See, Jason gets it. Lars gets it. Oh, One-Eyed Cat says it will be a plus. So you can tell. See, this is how you can tell Lars is not married. He just says yes. And Don says, well, it would be a plus. Don has that diplomatic edge on it there, see. Dizzy says no, but it wants one. 26 days, basically. Well, I mean, depending on when you have to leave. Thumper says, I will be wearing my camouflage thong. I just hope your thong is camouflaged, like externally. AHRA Guy Garage wants all the smoke from his 6. Cool. We like it. Yeah, safety first on the chalk clean. That's why I really need to talk it over with him. A lot of times, you know, track owners have crossed bridges before. We just really want to make sure, man, I'm telling you, we just want to make sure everybody stays safe. That's really, really important. There was really no great arrangements you could make with that. One-Eyed Cat's calling it 20 days. That's when Buffalo Brian is bringing me his trailer. Yep, looking forward to seeing all the English boys in Sykeston. So where are we in progress on the Valiant, Don? Where are we with that? Twisted Bopar has to run. We'll see us soon. Yes, sir. Probably tomorrow evening. Dennis will be live, I think he said, at 7 p.m. Central tomorrow. Unfinished Project says it's only 4 Saturdays until the No Name Nationals in 2025. Don's got a bunch of the pieces painted. Inner fenders and under hood should be painted by the end of the weekend. Okay. Engine's in it, or you don't have the engine in it yet because you're doing inner fenders. That's right. Indecisive says, my journey begins in 22 days. Oh, Moth is still in here. I would think the journey's going on now. You got 365 subs. Yeah, I'm going to let them cycle that comment stuff out. I don't like it. Sometimes you just have to wait. Usually the chat's flying. Sometimes it just stops a minute. No big deal. Ryan Barsness says that countdown sure goes quick in the last 50 days. Yeah, it does. But I mean, a day is 24 hours, regardless of, whether it's at the first or the last of that. I mean, we gave you guys the longest countdown of any No Name Nationals ever this year. 308 days. Cultured Redneck Garage has finally got my transaxle rebuilt. Now I'm on the downhill stretch, freshen up some paint and put her back together for No Name National. Sounds good. Engine getting painted the next few days. Prep work sucks. It does. It's a lot harder than the paint job. Unless you're a rattle can and a car turquoise. Number says 308 days, but I can't do anything with cars until June. You have a garage, though. You ever thought about getting your No Name Nationals car in there, ahead of all that? I'm just kind of curious how you work around that where you have snow for 342 days a year. Mean Street No Par says, I'm hoping that Indy top end will make my 440 have some good power. It'll be fun in the D100 with the 4-speed, too. How's that Diplomat coming? That's what I want to know. Turquoise. Funny. He has to work on rusty trucks all winter. Yeah, this is true. Next step's move into firewall. Jethro, you snoring? He's dreaming over there. Jethro is. I don't even hear that. Jethro's dreaming about something. You dreaming about a motorcycle? I'll start running here in a minute. He's dreaming, leaving. Well, if he sounds distressed or having a nightmare, we don't want him to have a nightmare. Dr. Go says, anyone here have a tip of where to get a new AC compressor, hoses, etc. to replace the entire AC system in an 81 Chrysler with the 318? I don't know the best place to find that. Dreaming about chasing mini bikes? Maybe. That deer? Quite possibly. Oh, yeah, for those of you who did not see it, I will show you. This was just in my backyard at one of my places yesterday. Just sitting right there, right behind the garage apartment, just hanging out. And Jethro was barking at him from 50 feet away. He didn't even flinch. 8-pointer just hanging out. Here's the crew that helped me get my electrical service back up there. They've been helping me paint and do all kinds of stuff. But the deer comes out and just like a pet. Comes out, says hi, hangs out in that corner. There all the time. Dreaming about that deer, probably. 6th Street Garage is celebrating his birthday tonight. Excellent. Looks like you're 59 years old. Kim's good at finding AC parts now. Well, there you go. And a happy birthday. 6th Street Garage. One-Eyed Cat says that's legal in Pennsylvania. What's legal? Killing the deer? I don't like to kill deers. I like him just walking around in the backyard eating leaves. I told him, eat all you want. That's a bunch of brush back there. It all needs to go. You can have it all. It's tough when you name the deer. This one just is hanging out in the backyard. He comes back there all the time. Indecisive Garage says some local parts stores can make AC lines to order. We have a place here called the Hose House, and they can make stuff if you need lines like that to order. If I get enough time and motivation, I might even fix the air conditioning on the van before I go. It's just not charged. It's all there. Yes. Happy halfway to 118. If you can do 59 more, you will be the oldest man who lived in recorded history. I don't believe a man has ever lived past 116. Yeah, I have no interest in killing that deer whatsoever, but I'm sure come November, there's a whole lot of people that want to kill it and take pictures of the dead body. That is so not my thing. I know there's a lot of people that like to hunt. There's a lot of people that like to eat deer. That's great. But there's also a lot of people that just like killing them for the sake of killing them too. And so I'm sure that's what's going to happen to him come November. But anyway, he's welcome to hang out in the backyard and come chill and watch us work and eat leaves. A deer that tame just needs to be left alone. I totally agree. He's got it made back there. One-Eyed Cat said, my grandfather lived to be 102. I have that going for me. Yeah, I probably don't. I'm good with that. Mohawk said, I've been watching some of these guys on YouTube putting 12-volt AC units from an EV car on old rods. Pretty neat stuff. Interesting. That is interesting. Because I always kind of thought about that, like Teslas, have to have electric air conditioning. That could be a good option. Old McDonald said up here, more deer die from automobiles and semi-trucks and hunters. Yeah, I can see that. We got a lot of them get hit here too. I hope this one can just go up and live his days up on East River Mountain. I mean, I'm really not far from there at all. He doesn't have too far to go to get up there, but he's got to get through the rest of the neighborhood. Junkyard D said, because she looks like a startled deer, that's not a she. Does Bill Maher need to tell you how to tell the difference, Dean? Junkyard D says, I ran into an issue putting my heads on with 1.6 rockers, bent the exhaust push rod. No clearance. Yikes. You have a dial indicator? You can put it on with just a checker spring or a light spring and move it up and down, see what you got. Exhaust, you usually need a little more. JB says, Indecisive and I have to race this year. I missed him last year. This is the first year he's been registered, JB. Dean says, I don't listen to Bill Maher anymore. He's moved 2 chairs right. The neat thing is you can mount the compressor anywhere on your car. Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, it sounds like in the trunk would be the smart place to mount it, especially with a trunk-mounted battery. Old McDonald says, your car looks like the 71 Scamp he had just out of high school, primer black. Is with what paint costs these days? Being indirect, yes. That makes a lot more sense. Now, indirect, perennial number 2 has never missed a No Name Nationals. Thumper says, I'll be doing a Tractor Supply paint job soon. That sounds great. Van Sickle tractor paint. Okay. What, I mean, was that a brand? What is that? I don't know what that is. Jethro has moved. I think the lights were too bright for him, got on his nerves. He's gone to take his nap in the living room. Okay. He confirms that's a brand. Says it's what the 8 Buff painted the A-Team with. Okay. Gonna advance the cam, see if it'll clear. Good deal. You need about I've heard a rule of thumb's around 120 on the exhaust and about 70, 80 on the intake, something like that. Sixth Street Garage likes the idea of using electric AC compressor a lot of it. Yeah, I can see it too. I just don't know, what the demands that's going to put on the alternator. But then again, we have more charging capacity on cars than we've ever had. So, yeah. I mean, that might be the way to do it. And it will keep the engine compartment a whole lot cleaner. Old McDonald wants to paint his car with paint for the stealth to keep from getting radar tickets. There's also a thing called slowing down. That works pretty good too. Wrong English. Finally made it to the house. The one-eyed cat's satisfied with the progress from the day. Still needing to be up early for work. Right on. You guys are doing great. Laura says, old Mac, just take it to New Jersey to have the valves adjusted. It won't have a problem speeding after that. No, it will not. No, it will not. Show of hands, does anybody here adjust all 16 valves with the engine in the same place? Or do any of you rotate them? If you know, you know. Ooh. I am a wreck from working in that garage and carport and meter base and all that stuff. My carpet padding just shipped today. It'll be in next week. No, Blue Grid, I sure didn't. We have about on par with what we had last year. Ginger Van says, I watched a video about having valves adjusted from New Jersey. Yes. Tell us about it. Tell us about the video you saw. Wrong English said, just so long as it breaks into the nines, not the rear end braking. Oh, I think you're going to easily break into the nines. Easily. Not breaking the rear end might be another story. Junkyard D says, yes, spec calls for 100 on exhaust. I'm afraid I may get exhaust clear, but move the intake closer. Yeah, but intake doesn't need as much. Intake, you can get by with maybe as little as 60 on the intake. Describe that video you saw of the valve adjustment from New Jersey. Indirect says, Lars, to be fair, it runs so quiet you can't hear it. Well, that may be true. Yes, describe for the viewers. Correct. Exactly. Traction aids may need implemented. Yes, could be, and we can help him there. Yeah. Dealer says, hope everyone has a great weekend. You too, sir. One-Eyed Cat says, Wendy found him a set of center lines with ET Streets. Cool. Have no fear, the Dougster is here. Howdy, Dougster. How did your Super Beetle work go? Weren't you doing brakes on a Super Beetle? Lars couldn't hear it over all the heavy breathing. Yeah, that's understandable. What am I missing? New Jersey, is that an inside joke? Oh, not in New Jersey. What goes on? There's something that goes on in New Jersey. It's a pretty good inside joke. Ginger says it was about 4 years old and he's still trying to adjust valves. Yes, that is correct. Since the winter of 2021. That is correct. Yes, kerosene cucumber. There's a guy on YouTube who's been trying to get some valves adjusted for 4.5 years to do a valve adjustment. We kid you not. We kid you not. Ever get the starter tightened up? Who knows? Got somebody else to do it. Yeah, it's wild to see, people who are new to the community see that and then find out that's been going on for 4.5 years. Wrong English says Don was around a 10:02. It was close to a. Yeah, exactly. He got in the staging lanes one more time where it was cooling off. He'd have gotten that easily. He'll get it this year. Indecisive Garage just haven't started mine yet, but pretty sure it won't be quiet now. Oh no. Troll seating is available. Yes. Yes, Big Mike. This is correct. Probably getting paid by the hour. Probably. His life goal is to now get on welfare disability. Dougster's got all the kiwis going on instead of potatoes for a change. Lars puts up a link to New Jersey's finest. Okay, so that's probably going to be something that shows you the 4.5-year valve adjustment and all that good stuff. So you check that out. I'm sure that'll have it. Dean suggests an emoji tax. Oh, no, don't. Our government will take you up for it. Wrong English says John did a live from Pennsylvania at the Cat's house one time and early in the No Name Nationals ancestry. Yeah, we did that. Was it 2023 we did that? Or was that last year? I can't remember exactly. Yeah, but we came up, brought Don his transmission, and had Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly, and Don and Wendy and Wrong English, and it was a great old time. I'd like to do that again sometime. There you go. All the potatoes there for Dougster. Boy, we got it all going on with the potatoes. Probably potatoes and American flags, but for whatever reason, StreamYard won't bring the American flag over from YouTube like it does some of the other emojis. So unfortunately, we get that, but it still says US. It's a no snowflake zone. Good, we need that. Okay. You brought up the transmission debuting at No Name Nationals 2025. My Coke sticker will be legit. Well, it's full of Coke parts, I can tell you that. So, and it went together beautifully. I can't imagine you won't have any problem with it. Yeah, that was a really good core. Really nice. The only hard part that thing needed was a bevel spring. That was it. And even then, it was, it was all right, but I wanted to get rid of some of that slop in there. But it was great. All the parts looked really good. All the clearances were spot on the money first try. Didn't even have to go to a different snap ring. Dean says was going to do some Scottish flag waving. Okay, never done that in my life. Wrong English says the cat says we have 20 days. If the cat says it, it's got to be right. Cat says, now that you brought up the transmission, how much fluid do I need to acquire and recommended brand? I just run regular Valvoline Dextron. That's what I run. That's just what I run. And I mean, just get a gallon of it, and as soon as you start that thing, just dump a bunch in there and keep checking it, because as soon as you start it, the pump is running on the transmission. So dump a bunch in as soon as you fire that thing up, and start checking it on the stick. Oh boy, what's Lars talking about? Am I the only one who stumbled upon old 220 sleeping on the live at 3 the other morning, complained about not getting subs? I don't know. Cope always says red fluid. Yeah, I just like regular Valvoline Dextron. See, Type F, a lot of people talk about Type F because of the friction coefficient, but here's the deal. With modern valve bodies and clutches and friction materials and all of that, I don't think the Type F makes nearly the difference it used to make. I have never needed it. So, I mean, I just like regular old Dextron. You have a higher pressure valve body in that car, Don. All the clutches are new. The bands are improved. Gave you some upgrades on the bands. Yours is good to go. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That is funny. Converter needs a bunch before. Yeah, I fill that thing up. I pour a bunch in there before I even put it in. Makes it heavy, but that's all right. Hendrick says, Lars, I wouldn't admit you were dreaming of that. Lars was dreaming of lasagna. Indecisive says, I used Dexter on 3. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, they've superseded. You know, they replaced 1 with 2, 2 with 3, 3 with 4. What I don't like is all these additives they've added and added to each number. From what I have read and what I have heard from other transmission builders, they say the boiling point is kind of affected negatively, and that the older fluids are actually better for the transmissions that don't need all those additives. So if you can get 3, use 3. If you can get 2, use 2. I mean, but I think any of that Dextron is just fine. I just get it Valvoline. I get it by the gallon. Dump a bunch in to start with. You don't want that pump running dry. And then, you know, obviously when things get warm on the level, check it on the dipstick and all that good stuff. Oh no, Buffalo Brian won't be making it this year. Oh man. Bummer. I was hoping Buffalo Brian would be there. I always like to see him. Nightmare, perhaps. Main Street Mopar says, I was going to trade you the springs from my Edelbrock East Street heads, but I have them sold, hopefully. Plus, the Indy heads have springs good for 750 lift solid roller. What's going on with the Diplomat, though? Mohawk said on Tech Talk Wednesday he thinks Professor P said that Type F didn't foam up like Dextron Mercon do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. Usually the foam is part of that additive package. I've never had a problem with it. Probably depends on the temperature. From what I've heard from other builders, say they think it's actually better fluid than Type F. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't have anything definitively to say. All I have is hearsay, but from people who have built a lot of them. Type 3 is recommended for lockup converters. I know the Mopars, the front-wheel drive stuff in the 80s and 90s. And you guys remember when those Mopar front-wheel drives, like the Caravans, Avengers, all of that stuff, when it would come down to a stop at a stoplight, it would make this noise because it had all these noisy solenoids on it. And they had to have Type 4 to keep those noises down. And they were not happy if you ran 2 in them. We are absolutely serious, Wrong English. Yes, we are. We are not kidding. Absolutely. And it's happened numerous times. One-Eyed Cat says bolting the engine transmission will be an interesting day. Big thing here, make sure that converter is seated all the way. Make sure spin that thing and spin that thing. If you need to pull it back a little, then spin it some more. Whatever you got to do to make sure it drops all the way in, both thumps. Because if you try to bolt it up and it's not, you can break your pump. I did that once when I was a teenager. Learned a hard lesson on making sure the converter's seated. Duxter says Super Beetle will be getting new wheel bearings and a speedometer cable plus master cylinder. All right. Now, does the Super Beetle still have the speedometer cable going to the front wheel? The left front wheel? Mrs. One-Eyed Cat is here. Hello. Wrong English says, I love Jethro. He's dreaming about a cycle right here. He's dreaming, but he's gone in the living room because it's darker. He doesn't like all these bright studio lights, but he fell asleep with them on. Dougster says JMJ has a video with the measurements when the converter's fully seated. There you go. It's usually like an inch or so. It needs to be seated properly. Never draw one down with the bolts to the bell housing. I mean, I think everybody here knows that, but I have seen broken pumps like that. Dougster says yes. It's got the speedometer on. Yeah. Beatles had that. I didn't know if the Super Beatles still had it or not. The early Beatles did. The old McDonald's asking if all those early A bodies with big blocks have the exhaust manifold exits on the front of the car. No. His was just done weird like that. Those early A bodies never came with big blocks. Indirect Connections got to run out. Says, have a great weekend. You too, sir. Thank you for coming by. Delayed reaction. Yeah, it has a little bit of buffering. I just wait for it. This place greets each other like they do in the show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. And Jason, don't forget to remind me right after the live. Lars is reporting on the scrimmage without probably a game, actually, considering it's 22nd of August. 21-0 at the half. We're up. Right on. Big Mike says, so what I hear, Hondas didn't come out with big blocks either. No, sir. I used to think about doing that. Wrong English. I suspect you are watching this about an hour delayed. Of course, you're not going to know I'm telling you that. So somebody should tell Ron in the chat to click live on the lower left on his screen. Lars is suggesting, Big Mike, can I drop my 96 Civic off and have it converted? There you go. Has everybody been watching Steve Maggs? His new videos doing well? He is. He's doing much better. And I'd like to have Steve back on this show. So he's got a lot of catching up to do, but he's expressed interest in coming back, and we'd like to have him back. So he's been adding things back to his life as he's been getting better. So hopefully we'll have him back on here before too long. You're on your mind. Exactly. Yeah, Mags is doing well. Doing so much better in some of those early videos we saw where he came back. I'm glad to see it. Lars, I don't think it'll be up to your standards. Hey, now, you know what kind of standards Lars has. Dean says this guy doesn't believe in ketchup. He was born too close to Chicago. Could be. Standards. Have you seen who I hang out with? He hangs out with Mohawk at No Name Nationals. Mike says he stands corrected, indeed. Now, what are we saying here? His beard is well manicured. LP, what is that word? Standards? What are we trying to say there, Dean? See, Tim says Laura's standards can't be too high. He came to see me at a race in Bowling Green. Mike says, you do let me hang out in the circle at No Name Nationals. Yes. Laura said he knew that would get JB going. Yes. It's all good stuff. Man, look at this. This is a new feature. I don't know if I like this or not, but show comments on stage, beta version. Let's just select this for a minute, see if it does it. I don't know what that looks like. Have you guys seen it? I flipped a switch up there at the top. Oh, I see it. Look, it's opened a window over here. Oh, look at that. Sure enough. Now it's adding them over there. Yeah, the only thing about that is it may make it easier to watch on live chat replay, but even then, YouTube still does a pretty good job of that. So I don't know. We'll let that run a minute, see if y'all like it. Cousin Cletus says 27 days. More like 26 days, 2 hours, 27 minutes. Dean says he's more of a VHS kind of guy. Interesting, kinda. JB says, I don't see it. Don't see what? Yeah, surely you see the comments. They're filing up right here. You see that? Yeah. I don't really know the value of that because as tiny as it is on my screen, I don't know what value that'd be on the phone. I mean, if you're watching on the TV, I can see it. We'll leave that for a second, but I'm inclined to say I don't like that. I don't really see much value in that. Yeah, right. I mean, and you may not. I can see it. In fact, what I'll do is I'll do this just for JB. I'm going to do this. If I just took a picture of my screen and I'll put it here in case they're not displaying for you. You see that, JB? I just took a picture of my screen and that's what it looks like. "26 days. I should probably get to work. 113 cycles in the house. Hello, sir." Big Mike says, can't really see it on the phone. The background shows too. Yeah, I don't think there's any point, not from what I'm seeing here. SRP, what movie are you watching? Are you coming to No Name Nationals? Because I got to tell you, the movie was kind of underattended that year I did it. That's why I haven't brought it back. I'd love to do it again. Are you kidding? Just need, if people were more interested in it. The problem is people are usually so worn out on Thursday, they don't want to watch a movie. They just want to hang out and sleep and stuff. And that's fine. That's totally cool. But that's a huge undertaking to do there. 113 ready for No Name Nationals. I'm sure he will be. Yeah, he's talking about something else wrong, English. He's talking about these messages right here. And I can see them on my screen right here. See, she's very small. Yeah, I don't think there's much point in it. I just tried it. I'm going to switch it back off. Just like that. And then when I switch it on, it has to repopulate with fresh messages. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that doing much. If you were watching it on a television, like a 70-inch TV, I can see that. Could you do a fake live? You could do a fake live? Well, that'd be interesting. Maybe when they replace me with AI, I'll be doing a fake live. Original, Gone in 60 Seconds. And there's a lot of movies. Some we would do, some we would. I have a list, a short list that I would do. They're just people just need to be more interested and want to do it. And I haven't, I mean, there's a lot of things. If we had 100 pre-registrations and we had them earlier and all that stuff, yeah, I would do it. But I don't want to take chances on event funds when I don't know who's going to show up. So we grow the event. I'll do more stuff like that again. I could do a fake live while driving a truck for 5.5 hours. You're going to do like the movie Speed and have a closed caption recorded and a loop around of the passengers. It could just be you on loop, rolling over and over for 5.5 hours driving a truck. 113 watches on the TV. It really helps me. I was surprised how many people watch me on televisions for this live. It's a lot more than I would have thought. I was really shocked by how many people watch these or at least listen to them on replay and on their drives. And that's why I always read the questions, even when I put them up. And I never try to just answer a question without reading it first. Because a lot of people in their lives will address their lives like they assume everyone can see it and assume everyone knows which commenter they're responding to. And when you're watching it on the screen, we pretty well do. But if you're listening to it podcast style after it's live, like on the drive to work the next day, like most people do, it seems, probably a little more than half, it makes more sense when I can read the questions and make it listener friendly without being reliant on seeing what's going on the screen. Because nobody needs to see me in the first place. So. Yeah, that might be the better way to go. Colleen says we're leaving Tuesday, so be there late Wednesday and refreshed for Thursday. You're leaving Tuesday, so should be there late Wednesday. How long a drive is that for you? You break that into 2 days? Dougster says the made-for-TV movie Hot Rod is a good No Name Nationals movie. Well, see, we got to have more people pre-registered for the event. I would love to bring the movie back, but we need a bigger turnout, on the lawn and that kind of thing, for that. So I'm going to put the money in other things until then. I really like it, though. I think it goes great with the event. SR Pieces, I watch you on the TV in my garage, but I can't make irritating comments. Cool, JV. Sounds good. I'll be there. Yeah, you guys were there at crazy o'clock in the morning Wednesday last year. Bruce says my pickup is fixed, so they tell me after 4 weeks. Well, Bruce, could be worse. Could have taken you 4 years and still not have it fixed. Also, I'm retiring my lederhosen for good. You missed your chance to see me dressed up in a silly outfit, but I'm sure there are pictures. Colleen says with stops, it's about 14 hours. I'm not cannonballing it. We'll stop to sleep. Yeah, it's a good idea. That's a good idea. I got to tell you, getting so just beat up from the road on a trip takes a lot out of you. So always the positive guy. Yeah, and Bruce is always the guy that looks for the gray cloud with every silver lining. Lone Ridge Garage says, we're coming into Sykeston Tuesday afternoon, staying at a local campground until Thursday morning, then to the track. Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you, you can camp at the track on Wednesday, You can. I mean, I don't like, we open the gates like Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. That's when I start setting up. You can get there anytime after that if you want to camp that day too. It's entirely up to you. Might not be as much going on or as much to do. I got this from 113 Cycles. He watches us on a 75-inch TV. Danny Boy's got a 27-inch monitor on my desk. Yeah, I got a good size screen and a laptop here that I use on my desk. That'll depend if it's 100 degrees out. Yeah, I guess. I'm probably just going to crash in the van this year. I got to tell you, it's the camping on the tracks is nice. It's fun. But what I really like, being on the track really helps me out. Helps me to make my rounds early. Helps me deal with things there at the track. It's good. It works really well for me to stay at the track. Wrong English says a 2-day trip with us with a stop at Uncle Sonny's for a fire and beans on the fire. Yeah, that's cool. Bruce says, hey, how about some worthwhile information? Yeah, like where to get your lederhosen dry cleaned. Can anyone recommend a collapsible canopy to protect my car from the pines that doesn't cost me an arm and a leg? Sounds like you're looking for two different things. Looks like he wants like a temporary garage to protect his car from pine trees that's cheap. What's your budget, Bruce? Because, you know, there's probably still some cheap carports out there. Some of them you probably get free if you're willing to move them and do the work to put them up. There's probably some decent temporary garages out there. What do you guys say about that? What would probably be Bruce's best bet? He wants to protect his car from pine trees, a collapsible canopy. Can anyone camp the track or just participants? Participants and spectators. Spectators can camp. JB said, hope 113 cycles doesn't burn his hand again this year. That was bad, but we took him foods we didn't have to cook. Yes, Ryan, how's your hand doing if you're in here? Dust Devil Garage says the weather says 70s Friday and Saturdays. Too far out to trust, though. Yeah, the weather is generally really nice. Cave Dave says chainsaw. Hello, Cave Dave. Glad you're here. Colleen suggesting to look for that on Marketplace. Probably not a bad idea. What time do things normally start on Thursday and Friday at the track? We try to have things rolling, you know. Well, first of all, Thursday, tech opens at 8 in the morning. But the track is not hot on Thursday. And then we go to Lambert's for dinner. We're going to cruise to dinner on Thursday. Then Friday, we usually have things opened up around 9 o'clock in the morning. If the track is prepped and ready to go for test and tune. 113 says, I really appreciate the food. Thank you. I'm going to Lambert's this year, so no burdens for me on Thursday. Not a bad idea. Bruce says, not cheap, but I'm not paying $500. I don't want anything permanent. I doubt anything collapsible would stand the winter. I'll take it down in the winter. So there you go, guys. What would you recommend for Bruce? He's not paying $500, so it's got to be under $500. It doesn't have to withstand snow, but something he could get through the fall with. I got to tell you, I think for what you're saying, a 10 by 20 canopy at Hazard Fraught Harbor Freight would probably do it for you. A 10 by 20 is what the size you'd want for a car. And let me just look real quick. 10 by 20 canopy, Harbor Freight. There you go, Bruce. Cover Pro 10 by 20 portable canopy, $129. There's a 10 by 20 Shelter Logic at Tractor Supply for $109.99. There's a 20-foot tent at Northern for $129.99. And here's one with sides. It's a 10 by 17, which your car would fit in there for $199 Harbor Freight, but it has sides. So there you go. There's just some options. And there you go. Russell says that's probably his best bet. Wrong English. We're going to have a pace car this year, and that's going to be Turbo Tom. 113 says hand is great, can't even tell it. Thank you, Big Mike. We're going to be seeing you soon. Thanks for coming by, friend. Bruce says he's had good luck with the Harbor Freight stuff. Well, there you go. It's disposable. Pretty much everything from Harbor Freight is. Wrong English suggests a couple tarps along the sides. Yeah, maybe. Might work. I bought a 10 by 10 a couple weeks ago. Seems robust. Well, this 10 by 20 is just twice that size. So he's going to try to get the bigger version from Harbor Freight. Let me know what you think about it. SRP says, I have a Logic 10 by 20 that's been set up for 7 years. JB says, Turbo Tom leading the ride, nobody be in a hurry. That's the whole point. He's our pace car. Bruce is going to do a review on this channel in the comments of a live stream of his Harbor Freight 10 by 20, it sounds like. So looking forward to that. Lars gives an important point. We're going to get this in the big all-together live stream where we talk about event particulars, which we will be doing very soon. Lars says, just a reminder, folks, safety glasses are recommended at the burnout competition. Be safe or be sorry. Yes. If you're in the burnout pit, it is nice to wear safety glasses because even though they sweep that pit and everything, you still have a lot going on there. So it's not a bad idea to wear your safety glasses. Indecisive Garage says, I'll be hitchhiking to Lambert's. You can do that. Bruce says, of course, I'll have to buy a demolition hammer to break through the rock to set the anchors. A demolition hammer? Break through the rock to set the... okay. Can't you just use a hammer drill or something? Dougster suggests spray down the tarp with a heavy layer of UV protectant. The tarp will last longer. That sounds like not a bad idea at all. JB said, if camping, you should be responsible and respectful. Please police and clean your campsite. That's important, folks. He is correct. We want to leave that place cleaner than we found it. Low Ridge Garage is tapping out. Going to enter the van at a car show earlier in the morning and work for more subscribers. You can do it. That sounds great. I'm looking for your content, man. Sounds great. Bruce says, I forgot the term, hammer drill. I'm 75. Cut me some slack. I didn't know what you were talking. You sound like you're running a jackhammer like you'd rent from an equipment rental place. Speaking of safety, I haven't seen Scott from Heaven's Mopars. Yeah, he's milling around. He commented on my Volkswagen dune buggy shorts, so he's around. Correct, Lars. I have my cheater safety glasses Z-rated. Yeah, seriously, wearing safety glasses is a good idea in the burnout pit. Just a lot going, just little fragments of tire rubber and stuff and little tiny pebbles that might come off the surface of the track. It's a good idea to wear your safety glasses, especially if you're on the front row. Hey, man, thank you. We appreciate you. Love the spirit. You're making it happen. And see, then next year, you're going to be an established channel giving advice to these guys who are working for their 500 and so forth and so on. And earplugs, it can be very loud in that burnout pit. Very loud. An open header car with the tack buried for an entire run until the tires blow, yeah, it's pretty loud. Good point. Yeah, sparks, you get a little tiny rock. But they sweep it good in there, but I got to tell you, with that natural grass in the middle, it's impossible to keep it completely free. Lone Ridge is a 403. Indeed, he's got 97 to go. He's getting closer and closer, punching that ticket. He's going to make it. Bruce says he needs a jackhammer. Been thinking of buying one for this place. It wouldn't go unused. Go for it. I do not know any person who has a jackhammer just for residential use. My cousin cleared a big area with rock, and he blasted a lot of it. Wrong English just wants to let the novices know, oh, yeah, please do. It's a good idea. Hey, if you guys have any ideas, things that you think need to be on my list to tell people, first time people come into the No Name Nationals, like safety glasses for the burnout pit, like earplugs for the track, to watch the track and for the burnout pit and things like that. So if you can, just email them to me if you would. And I'm going to put them together because we're going to do our preparation and logistics live stream. We'll be doing that soon. Please email those things to me. It will be nice and make sure I hit all my marks. Dougster said he started carrying foam earplugs full-time for a while. I wear them when I ride my motorcycle. They're handy. Yeah, they are. JB recommends sunscreen. Yeah, you'll get a pretty good burn, without wearing your sunscreen. Mohawk likes the bug spray. And they don't like me as much. Yes, good point. Carpool to the burnout contest makes for easier traffic. Yes, it does. Gets awfully crowded if everybody wants to drive up to the top end. I strongly recommend carpooling up to the burnout competition. And you know what? It's not a bad walk at all. You can walk up there in the grass. And I don't know what SRP is trying to do here about woke. Protecting your hearing and sight has nothing to do with woke. Nothing. I cannot tell you how many tens of thousands of gunshots that my ears have survived because I've taken care of them. Nothing woke about that. JB says, Mohawk must be sweet. The bugs don't bother me. Yeah, they don't me either. I don't think that track, I've not seen a big problem with the bugs. It's a good walk. We all need some exercise, right? And some people have mobility limitations. That's fine too. So nothing wrong with riding up there, but let's try to carpool as much as we reasonably can. It does help. It does make it a lot easier, for the competition cars and so forth. Or another thing you can do if you want to drive up is park as soon as you cross that little bridge, you can park there, and it frees up more room up there at the pit. Charger 383 Mopar William is here. Hello, sir. Thank you for coming by. Dougster says we walked to the pit. Empire of Rust gave us a ride back in his awesome tow truck. Yeah, right on. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. Damien said, I slept outside under a canopy and didn't experience any mosquitoes. Well, SRP, as with so many words today, we misuse for things that they have nothing to do with. Don't say that I don't, but there's what people know, and then there's what things really are. It's hard to even communicate today, and I think that's by design. Indecisive Garage brings goggles, respirator, ear cans, and a large hat to every. Yes, that's the hot ticket. I like wearing the headphones that cancel automatically. I think those are the best. That's what I wear on the range all the time. I think they're great because you can hear what's going on, but they shut off for loud noises. Lars puts up the link to the Charger 383 GoPro giveaway right there. And there, Charger 383 Mopar is asking. We got the link right here. He's doing a GoPro giveaway at No Name Nationals. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans says camping on site is the best option. Most miss the mini bike slow race. Yep, camp on site. You'll get to see that. Charger 383 Mopar says, should be very fun. I can't wait. By the way, Charger 383 Mopar William, if you notice this picture right here, this was from the inaugural No Name Nationals. He won the burnout competition in his Charger. So although he has retired the car from competition, that's where that iconic photo came from. Smoke 200 feet high. Yeah, that column of smoke was incredible. Ginger Vance said, bugs didn't bother me until I quit smoking. That's the only thing I have ever heard that smoking actually does is keeps bugs off of you. I know that my mom's father's brother, Uncle Alfred, he would smoke a cigar while he mowed grass to keep the bugs off of him. The mini bike slow race is not on the itinerary. Who says it's not? Mowing churns the bugs. You are correct. I mow all the time. Wrong English says you smoke out honeybees for their honey. No bugs like smoke. $113. That is something I'm definitely going to have to make sure of with Possum. But yes, planning to do a 330. We got to make sure the lights work on both sides. Mohawk, the sweeter you smell, the more the skeeters like you. We would smoke cheap green cigars, walk in the swamps frog hunting, and drank cheap whiskey. Old granddad, traditions never die. That just sounds like something out of a movie, Dougster. What is old granddad? The black and mild of whiskey? Something people just drink for effect? There's Buff Del Campo. Where you been, Buff? All right. We're in the closing minute of our live here. And so I just want to remind you guys, catch Wednesday night Tech Talk Live with Dallas and Professor P. And do remember, we're going to be live here on Friday. Coming up very soon, we're going to have our logistics live for the No Name Nationals. So we're going to talk about all of those things, camping and all of that good stuff, and the event flow and itinerary and all of that. That's coming up very soon. And with that, thank you guys for coming out. I will see you all again soon. Thank you for watching. Have a great, safe weekend.